Good morning. Welcome to Sacred Enzyme. Happy Saturday on this time in our day in our universe, our lovely universe. This morning I was having a wonderful meditation because I have an amazing feeling of energy about me today because I plan on gathering later with a group of like-minded individuals, and these people actually make contact with people from other dimensions that are visiting our planet. They're called the CE5 group, and we have a lot of sightings that people really are able to pierce the veil for some reason in Florida. And I think that's also one of the mysteries that we should look at, is that there's some energy centers on this planet because extraterrestrial, or whatever you want to call them, they're able to get through the thick veil that has us separated from heaven. And that thick veil was caused by Lucifer. He's in a midway place. He's in a midway place between us and God, and that's where he rules. He rules right there. And so everything is like getting through enemy lines. So you have to reevaluate your relationship that you have with your Creator, with your guardian angel, with your guides. You have to make sure that you're using good discernment and know who you're talking to when you're meditating or praying, that you're very direct and specific with your prayers. And I was meditating this morning, and I was talking to Archangel Michael, and I asked him what could he inspire me today to talk about on this channel of Sacred Enzymes that would be the most helpful for today. And I was immediately given the thought that I should talk about Lorna Byrne, and I should talk about archangels and angels, because people need to understand what angels are, because a lot of times we have all of these things that have been fed to us, spoon-fed to us through the different books, and you know, one angel that had originally had a name, and this is one reason why I say we got to go back to the symbols to find evidence, because the symbols don't ever change. The symbols don't change. Like the archangels have their own personal sigil. Let's not forget, I don't know if any of y'all ever watched Supernatural on, oh gosh, I think it was AMC. Oh my gosh, that show. I really think that show is representing true life events. I'm not kidding. Because we really do have archangels that are fighting on our behalf. So we can get back to our divine connection. We're separated and everybody's just having a party right now, you know. Lucifer he has a thick dome over the top of us, and God knows what's going on that we don't know about, you know. So Archangel Michael inspired me today because he wants everyone to understand what different kinds of archangels there are, how this order came about, and about Midway creatures, and about Lorna, because Lorna is very special. And as I've been reading this Urantia book, well, I've been listening to it on Audible, and then when I get stuck on a spot that like really blows my mind, I got to print it up and then take it apart, because it's amazing. This book is amazing. If you've not read this book, you can read the whole thing for free. You can read the whole thing for free. Urantia. This book is incredible. And if you're one of these people like me that's self-taught, that you've read hundreds of books and you watch documentaries, and you've just been one of these curious kids that like to read and watch stuff, and so you have a lot of different loose ends in your head about religion, this really, I don't know exactly. I would like to know exactly. If I had to say, I would say that this was definitely divinely inspired, just like it says. So I'm going to talk about the Midway creatures, because the Midway creatures, it's kind of like, you know, some of the moms out there might understand this, is that when you're not really planning on having a baby, but you get pregnant and it's like a happy accident, right? You know, of course, our soul already knows what's coming. And so everything that you get is you manifested it anyway, you know. So it's a happy accident, You weren't planning for it. It really wasn't a coincidence, though, because we stopped using the word coincidence. We're only going to say synchronicities from now on. Okay, so the Midway creatures. The Midway creatures, I'm going to read what it says in the Urantia Foundation book. Most of the inhabited worlds of Nebadon harbor one or more groups of unique beings existing on a life-functioning level. Now, a life-functioning level. About midway between those of the mortal realms and those of the angelic order. Okay? So we're talking about the realm that Lucifer inhabits. This is the midway point. He's trying to stop all trade in and out, right? But you can't compete with the archangels that are still on board. Because if we pray and we pray the right way, we're going right through, baby. It cuts right through. It's cutting right through. So that's why Jesus always said, when you're going to pray to the Father, say these words, Our Father who art thou in heaven, right? The Lord's Prayer. Why do you think it was so important for you to know the Lord's Prayer? Because you needed to know how to pray the right way. He said you need to know to pray the right way. So these midway creatures were kind of like a happy accident, because the way that I understand it is that there's a hierarchy of angels, okay? And they all have different jobs, and running this planet is almost like a corporation. It really is. I mean, I know there's some movie called Jupiter Rising or something like that with Nina Kunis, the one that's married to Ashton Kutcher, and Chandler. I can't remember what that guy's name is. He did that one stripper movie. Anyway, Chandler Tatum. Anyway, they talk about how the planet is basically like a business, but it is structured like a business. It really is. They have these highly evolved angelic type beings that go and they create life on new planets, and we are born in this planet. We're born onto this planet, and it's called the sex planet. And the reason that it's called the sex planet is because we're given a vagal nerve system, because we're implanted with this thing called the infinite spirit. And it says that when a creator son is personalized by the universal Father and the eternal Son, then does the infinite spirit individualize a new and unique representation of himself. It's like Lorna said, everybody has a little speck of light that is God's, and it's inside of us. And that is the infinite spirit. That's what goes back to God. And this spirit, infinite spirit, it manifests into our human body, and it's from God. And then all of the things that we do here and we collect here, when we leave this physical body, it goes back. And it's kind of like, I guess, what you see on the walls in Egypt, that your soul does get weighed. Are you going to have to keep coming back because you keep screwing up, you're not getting it, or are you just like playing here? Because, you know, the ones that keep coming back and they just want to play here, those are the ones that end up staying in the midway. You know, they don't want to cross over. I'm guessing that the midway would be kind of like purgatory, right? I don't know. But I'm sure that purgatory is not a great place. It's probably like one of these gilded cages. I don't know. I did want to say that my grandmother, she came to me not too long after she passed away, and she told me 3 interesting things, and every time I went to talk about them, I've not said it. The one thing was she told me that souls were chained to the earth, and I thought, man, that's crazy. What could she possibly mean? And I was just thinking visually of somebody with a chain around their ankle stand on the outside of the globe, you know. That's not what she meant. She was saying that souls are trapped here, that they're chained here, They're chained here in contracts with their soul, or they're chained here because of other things that they're in the midway. They don't leave the midway, or whatever, or that they keep getting karma because they're not learning. But she told me that souls were chained to the earth. She told me that Adam lived in a crystal castle. She told me Adam lived in a crystal castle. And I was like, wow, are you serious? That has to be so beautiful. But she knows I love crystals and rocks, and I've been collecting them ever since I can remember. I don't know why I'm so attracted to rocks, but I really am. And she told me he lived in a crystal castle, and she told me something else, and I'll get to it in time. But I want to read a part about Lorna, and I'll show you. Lorna wrote these books, and she has a fantastic story, and I'm not going to take up all the time on this because I really want you to go seek her out. Her name is Lorna Byrne, Byrne, and she's she's considered an Irish mystic. And the most beautiful thing about Lorna is her innocence and her purity. And Archangel Michael has accompanied Lorna, and she's been able to see him visually, and she can see with her own eyes. She can see the angels. She can see everyone's guardian angel that accompanies you through your life. You're a adjuster. And when you live your life according to the way that we're supposed to be living our life, do you know that you and your adjuster is your soulmate? You merge together and you go back to God. Is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever heard? That's your soulmate. You're already with your soulmate. Is that not silly that we go all around the world looking for soulmates and they're already with us the whole time? Who do you think is helping us? Your soulmate. Now, there are instances where soulmates will come to earth at the same time and live and come into a physical body, and that's because they have a really important task that they're doing. And I've known some of those people. I have known some of those people, and you know, he came and visited me after he passed away, and let me just tell you, he was covered in just a whole ring, and he was just emanating this golden dust. And when he got close to me, I was so overwhelmed with this. I can't even explain the feeling. It's like every single emotion you could possibly have, and then like a triple dose of love on top of that, and a billion times multiplied of anything you could ever imagine. It was like radiating out of him, and it was hitting my vagal nerve system so strongly. I was about to cry and laugh. I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. I mean, it tripped me all up. And I asked him if he would mind going back some, because his energy was so amazing that it was like, it was causing me to have a physical reaction. And he chuckled and he backed up and he gave me a message to pass on. And I passed it on, but I believe that him and his wife, I think that they were here for their purpose. And I think that they were doing work together, because after he left this earth, it wasn't long after that she did too. And you could say that those are true soulmates. But most of the time, we're already with our soulmate. And so when we're, you know, if you're a single person and you always feel like, you know, you need to find somebody to complete your life, like you say, oh, I don't need anything, but it'd be nice to have someone. Yeah, it would, but you know what? Just go about living your life and following the universe, because the universe is going to bring you whatever you're supposed to be doing on your life path. Always enjoy life. Don't ever stop your life because you're constantly looking for something. Let the universe bring it to you. Just put all your wishes and hopes and dreams in your prayers. So I want to talk about this story that Lorna wrote about in her book, Angels in My Hair. And I want to show you that Lorna autographed this book for me. I met her in 2018, And the universe, I know, did this for me because I just, some freak way, I was checking my email, and somehow or another I ended up hitting a link, and it ended up on her YouTube channel. And so I started, oh no, it wasn't. It was an advertisement about the fact that she could see angels, and that she was going to be in Orlando. And it was the day before I was scheduled to get back surgery. And I've had problems with my back for a long time. And my whole back is full of metal, so a lot of times you'll see me fidgeting a lot. I can't help it. I have a hard time standing still. And you know, I'm doing really well for, I think, as much as I've been through physically, I'm doing really well, and I'm getting better every day. But you guys will have to bear with me because I get very stiff, and I can't stand in one spot for long, you know. So anyway, but it's okay because we're just going to trudge through it anyway, right? All right, so she wrote this story about her life, and it's just absolutely beautiful, touching story, and she talks about all the different angels. But Michael is her guardian pretty much, and Lorna had amazing parents, but she grew up in poverty, which is good, you know. I think that it's very good for people to experience poverty. I know it sounds terrible, but unless you've ever experienced poverty, you can't really dig deep, right? And when you experience poverty and you have to dig deep, you know, you become more in tune with the world, because you have to use your mind to figure things out, right? People get really creative when they don't have any money, and they have to, you know, 20 scraps of wood, and they need to do the doghouse. They need the doghouse fixed, right? You do what you got to do. You get creative. You recycle. So she talks, you know, she has a loving family. You know, they're just poor, but she can see angels since the time she was born, and Michael is her companion. And yesterday we were talking about, I was telling my story about how I got attacked by this monster, and I don't even remember you know, I read this book a long time ago, but I don't remember too much about, you know, the description of this animal, because I don't like to talk about that story. For some reason I don't. But you know, I need to process it too, and I need to figure out why. Well, now that I know what it is, I can understand why. It was a spiritual attack, is what it was. It was a spiritual attack, and they were trying to get inside my body, which I thought was weird, but they were trying to get into my essence. And so I guess that's why they told me, you got to take better care of yourself, because every time your body gets cut open, you lose part of your essence. So this is the first time this evil is sent after Lorna. And I want to read this little part of this story because this is amazing. And she used to spend a lot of time outdoors with her family, and they would go fishing. You know, that's what you do. Sometimes you have to catch your own food. You know, sometimes you got to catch fish and cook them. Or if you don't catch any fish, then you go back to the house and you have something else. So, you know, she was saying that they were out and they were fishing, and there was a little, you know, like a little small cabin. So they were going to put a little fire in there and cook their trout, make some tea. And that's one funny little thing I'll interject, is when I met Lorna and they were all lining up to get their book signed, she gave us a blessing that comes from Archangel Michael. And Michael wants me to, I was given this morning that Michael would love for me to pass that along. And I'm going to, because we all need to be remembering this prayer. And so she's talking about how Michael, you know, he's always with her. Now, a lot of times she doesn't see him, and then a lot of times she does. And most of the time, you know, she's living a normal life, but he's never far from her, you know, because there's a reason. Okay, I just got that. Somebody said there's a reason. There's a reason that Michael watches Lorna. And now I think I know why. It's what I said yesterday when I was reading that the one that's going to come back is going to be a female. And I think it might be Lorna truthfully. I do. Michael's been with her since she's born, and all the archangels talk to her, and they've been with her since she's born. She's been born, and she's absolutely beautiful. And you know, she started a sanctuary in Ireland, and it's a castle, and her kids, she has such wonderful kids. They are so dedicated to helping this cause. And she's opened it to classes, and she has a garden, and I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And all of that, you know, from where she came from is so amazing. And she's so humble, and that's the most beautiful thing about her, is that she has not been spoiled or soiled. You know, I guarantee you that she's probably still drinking lion's tea, because I asked her what her favorite tea was, and when I was getting my book signed, and it caught her so off guard. I guess people would just always bombard you because they want to know about their angel, or they want to know about this, that nobody asked her anything about herself. And I said, I just wanted to know, if you don't mind me asking. And she was like, no, not at all. And I said, what's your favorite tea? And she was like, her face, she was like, she was expecting something else, I guess. And then she chuckled and she said, lion's tea. And so I said, I'll have to try that, but I can't find lion's tea. But I am drinking Taylor's tea, and it's pretty good, with lemon and honey from the honey factory that we get fresh honey from. It's amazing. Family-owned business. Always support family-owned businesses. So here's the story. They go into there. Michael's outside, and he taps Lorna on the shoulder, and he says, you're about to see something really scary. It can't hurt you, but you're going to see it. And you need to see this so you can understand what it is, right? So she's scared before she even comes in the door, because she's preparing herself. She knows she's protected. She comes in and she sees it instantaneously. It's right over in the corner by the fireplace, and her dad is lighting a fire. And there was like, the fire ended up exploding in the fireplace, and then a chair ended up breaking and flying across the room. And her dad grabbed her and they ran out. But she was saying that it was a monster. And she said right here what it looks like. She said, I stood there just inside the door. I could not move. I just kept saying to myself, oh my God, oh my angels. I could see a creature near the fireplace to the right. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before or since. It looked like melted wax, about 3 feet long and about as thick as a large man's chest. It was horrible and horrific looking. I couldn't say it had a mouth or eyes. But her dad couldn't see it. But the creature had massive energy, and it was throwing off evil, and it was very angry. It was almost like an elemental spirit, a demon type thing. But see, a lot of these places in Ireland are really old. And, you know, these Midway spirits, if people are doing these ritual magic rites, you know, they're feeding these things with, like, you know, just like when you have an alcoholic in the family that just can't get control of themselves, it's probably because they have one of these Midway spirits attached to them. And you really need to take them somewhere, and you need to take them to a shaman, a reputable one now, because you got shamans that are sucking people's souls too. So people that go do this ayahuasca and this mushroom stuff, y'all need to be careful, because there are shamans that are taking advantage of people. And so you need to be very careful when you get on airplanes and you fly into countries all over the place, so you can go get bombed out and you're totally zoned out in another place. That's not a very bright idea. Don't be going to these countries, especially you young women. Come on. You know, I understand that it's wonderful to go with the universe, but you need to find these reputable people. I mean, you got to find reputable people to do this kind of stuff. And never go taking off and doing this kind of stuff away from, you know, far away from home, especially in places you've never been before. That's very risky behavior, very risky behavior. You know, the universe will bring everything to you that you should be doing to get your discovery. I've never done any of that ayahuasca stuff, and I've never done the mushrooms, but you know, I was going to try the ayahuasca, and we even set up an appointment to do it at this very medical place. That's a church, and they're very reputable. And my girlfriend that was going to go with me, she had to cancel, so it didn't go through. So I always take, hey, that's a sign from the universe. It's not for me to do. So, you know, I need to figure out different ways that I can tune in. And one of them is you got to clean up what you put in your body. Like you need to realize that there's so many things in nature that you can eat that are like healing medicine. Like, you know, you can go to the honey place and have a tea with honey and lemon in it every day. That's so good for your body. It's good for your skin. It's good for detoxing your liver. It's good for your stomach. I mean, and honey, why do you think that they say the land of milk and honey? Because honey just is a superfood. So these Midway creatures were kind of made on a mistake, and they're super old. And they live in this area that, like I was saying, is an intermediary area. And see, what happened was these Midway spirits, creatures. Let me see how they define them. They call them the primary Midwayers, and they call them the Midway creatures. Okay, so they call them creatures because some of them are creatures. Some of them are angels, and other ones are angels that fell. That had these were like offspring that were born without a human form. They were still like in spirit, but they're able to interact with humanity, not like an archangel can. They're an intermediary. I mean, I guess they could. I mean, there's something about them that's unique to dealing with humanity. That's how they originally set up, and because there were so many of them, it turned out to be a good deal because, you know, I'm guessing there's just a lot of work to do trying to keep up with all these people. Because, you know, we have a soulmate that's with us all the time. It's called our adjuster. So when you're screwing things up and you're hearing, man, you probably shouldn't do that in your mind when you're thinking, man, should I do that? Or, you know, your thought adjuster will adjust your thought. He'll try to adjust your thought. And depends on whether or not you listen. A lot of times we know before something bad happens, we feel it. Like I just felt somebody walk up behind me. Michael, is that you? Are you here? Okay. Or my brother's here, one. Okay, so of these Midway creatures, 4/5 of all of them, so we only have 1/5 in this area, of the Midway area, that are working on behalf of the archangels and heaven, in the heavenly realm. So the other 4/5 have fallen, and they do all evil deeds. So now if you can imagine, this probably says that, you know, that one religion where they believe in these things sticking to you, it's probably not too far from that, truthfully. They just don't have the verbiage right, and they make you pay like lots of money to learn that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people are it's almost like a murder mystery trying to figure or solve that somebody would give their money away like that. I could think of so many better things you could do with excessive amounts of money than that. You could buy your own books and learn your own way. You got to start at the beginning. But you know, people want to know so bad. They want to know. They want to know where they came from. They want to know, you know, what are we supposed to be doing here? You know, people want to know. People want to know. It's only natural to want to know. But you know, I think that the whole thing has come about is humanity that is right here, right now. Are you willing to not partake in all of the excessive materialism that's going on in the world right now? Can you resist it? Can you resist gluttony? Can you resist all of these sins? Can you? I mean, can you live a life of moderation and balance and then try to give back? I mean, I think that that's probably pretty much what it's all about. If we can't come here and do that, so we can take all of these experiences that we've gained while we were here and merge back into God, you know, put this, all of the spark gets combined. That's like our chip, I guess. That's like our computer chip in a way. I mean, he's our computer chip. He's the mainframe, and we're a chip out of his computer, and we get plugged in, and that's how it works. So I mean, these Midway souls, I think that we have these Midwayers that influence a lot of negative behavior. And so it makes you take a completely different look at people that have mental disorders like schizophrenia and kids that are locked up in their brain. I mean, maybe there's a Midwayer involved. Seriously, you know, we've got a lot of kids that are, you know, a lot of souls that are choosing to be here right now. But, you know, a lot of these souls are really super advanced, and they're born with these really fast brains. I don't know if you've noticed that, like, the kids nowadays are, like, so smart, they can't figure out how to get out of a paper bag. They're, like, too smart. They're too smart for their own good. I'm serious. Like, my kids are so smart. I'm like, where'd you come from? Like, how did you get so smart? But, I mean, the kids are so smart now. All of the kids are like it. And some of them are so smart that they're born with, like, autism, because their nervous system is so highly charged, because they are born so gifted that it just sucks all the toxic things onto it like a magnet. And then you've got a damaged vagal nerve, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with it. Plus the mom has a damaged gut bacteria that is pregnant with the child. See, they should be testing people's gut bacteria that's pregnant, because if they have H. pylori bacteria in their gut, they need to clear that up. They need to get that cleared up, because that damages the vagal nerve, and it causes problems in the baby before they're born. That's one of the reasons is anything that happens in the brain is coming through vagal nerve, because that's the circuit board. I mean, really, the body is like a computer. Seriously, it seriously is. I guess we are a biological computer. They developed a biological computer, is what they did. Because the other half of our computer, we can't see it. But it does give you, if you can be quiet, you can hear your soulmate talking to you. He'll tell you, like, you know, sometimes I'll just come out with something, and that's because I'm getting the idea put in my head. And it's funny because I'll watch YouTube videos and I'll see the same thing happen, and you know, it's funny because they call that an epiphany. And you know, Epiphany was a goddess of, like, when you get a light bulb thought, that's Epiphany coming by to visit you and give you a thought. So Lorna, she wrote quite a few books, but I mean, that just goes to verify, you know. And Lorna is Irish. She's Celt. So, you know, the Celts have that, and they have that Nephilim blood. They do. They have the Nephilim blood. And she just might be the one that's come back. I mean, is she? Michael's always with her, right? So I wanted to show you this. You know, it's funny because my guardian angel, I don't know who it is, it's with me. I know my grandma's with me. My grandma Catherine. Every time I go to the library, I look in the used book section, and the paperbacks are about, and I love books because I'm always reading. Like, I think I'm reading like 15 books at once. Well, I picked this book up, I don't know, a couple months back, and I've only flipped through it, but look at it. I found it this morning because I went looking for my books on Lorna, and I have all of her books, but I could only find 2 of them. I gotta go back and look and make sure that I didn't loan them out, because I let a lot of my friends read her books, because I really believe that we should share this kind of information with each other. It's so important for everybody to know, you know. But these right here are all of the angels and their sigils. Remember we were talking about symbols, right? That everything's going to be in the symbols. So out to the side of them I put, what, you probably can't read my handwriting, arthritis. Michael is at the top, but look at his symbol right there. Doesn't that look familiar? Infinity. And then look at this. That looks like the alpha omega sign, you know, the first Greek letter. Kind of looks like that, doesn't it? And they have their sigil and all this stuff. And then I guess this last name is what they're also known by. But it says that Michael is the protector of man. He's the protector of man. But Michael is also God's son. First, you know, his first creation, if I'm not mistaken. Michael, aren't you the oldest? I believe he is the oldest. And, you know, we have Michael and Gabriel. Now, Gabriel, if you really need to pray, you need to pray to Gabriel because he crowns those prayers. He crowns prayers. And of course we know Samuel is the fallen, and then Raphael is the healer of earth man. And then we have one called Sachiel, and he's also fallen. And then Nil is also for God's prayers. If you want to pray to God, you can also pray to Nil. And then Cassiel, and he is the angel of temperance. So I'm guessing that when you're having a tough problem and you need advice, you know, that fair Libra advice, you know, everybody that's got a Libra friend that's like a number 9 in numerology or a number 11 in numerology. I'll tell you what, that's probably the best person you can ask for any kind of advice, especially money advice. Tell you, if you want money advice, you gotta find a Libra that was raised up with a cheap parent, because I'll tell you what, you'll get money advice like you'd never believe. So those are their things, but also I thought it was interesting because you can see on here, you can see the animals and stuff and the drawings that they depicted for these. I mean, what is this right here for Michael? I'm trying to figure that out. But I mean, I'm recognizing some of these things in here. Looks like a butterfly, and is that fish? You know, I mean, there's all kind of stuff. A cow's head. You know, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. I wonder if when we look through this book, if we would find the Rapa Nui shapes, you know, that were done a long time ago. I'd love to come across how those actually got there. So this whole book talks about the different kind of angels, but I'm going to read about Michael because Michael is Lorna's guardian angel, guide, protector, mentor, friend, you know, practically surrogate parent, because he's helped her through her whole life. So it says Michael's name means who is as God. In biblical and post-biblical lore, Michael ranks as the greatest of all angels, whether in Jewish, Christian, or Islamic writing, secular or religious. He derives originally from the Chaldeans, by whom he was worshipped as something of a god. He is chief of the order of virtues, chief of archangel, prince of the present, angel of repentance, righteousness, mercy, and sanctification. Also ruler of the fourth heaven. He's an angelic prince or Tsar of Israel, guardian of Jacob, conqueror of Satan. Bear in mind, however, that Satan is still very much around and unvanquished. Yes, because he's in between here and there, right? His mystery name is Shabbathel. In Islamic writing, he is called Michael. As the deliverer of the faithful, he accords. In the Avesta, with Sayant, the Redeemer, Midrash Rabbah accredits Michael with being the author of the whole of Psalm 85. In addition, he's been identified with an angel who destroyed the host of sent a cherub, a feat ascribed to the prowess of Uriel, Gabriel, and Ramiel. And as the angel who stayed the hand of Abraham when the latter was on the point of sacrificing his own son Isaac, remember we talked about it yesterday, that Michael was the one, because Abraham, for some reason, he thought that he was still going to have to do these blood rites. And he was already told by the angels, don't do that. You have one God. There's one God of everything, and you don't do that. There's no blood. We don't do blood. You're feeding midways, basically. You're feeding the wrong kind of, you're doing the wrong thing here. You're basically feeding demons, pretty much. Don't do it. You know, God would never ask you to kill your kid. Are you out of your mind? And if you have thoughts about doing something to your kids, then you need to go see an exorcism, seriously, because there's a Midway angel or something like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess they're all called angels, well, they're Midway creatures. You can't call them an angel. They don't qualify. They fell. All right, so anyway, he kept him from sacrificing his son. And then in Jewish lore, the legends of the Jews, the fire that Moses saw in the burning bush had the appearance of Michael, who descended from heaven as the forerunner of the Shinnah. Okay, Zagzagal is usually denoted the angel of the burning bush. According to Talmud, where the comment is on Genesis 18:1 through 10, Michael is recognized by Sarah as one of 3 men who Abraham entertained unawares. Legend speaks of Michael having assisted 4 other great angels, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Metatron, in the burial of Moses. Michael disputing with Satan for possession of the body. In mystic and occult writings, Michael has often been equated with the Holy Ghost, the Logos, God, Metatron, etc. Excuse me, say it, don't spray it, stays. Oh, I had lemon on my face, I'm sorry. Michael holds the key of the kingdom of heaven, which traditionally and in the popular image applies more aptly to St. Peter. In Hastings' Encyclopedia of Religion, the article Demon and Spirit speaks of the earliest tradition in Muslim lore as locating Michael in the 7th heaven on the borders of the full sea, crowded with an innumerable array of angels. And after describing Michael's wings as of the color of green emerald tablets, anyone? Goes on to say that he is covered with saffron hairs, each of them containing 1,000,000 faces and mouths. Remember all the mouths on the thing Ezekiel seen? That's because Michael took Ezekiel to heaven. He transfused him, or translated him. That's what they call it. They translated him. Like, you know, when Jesus left that imprint, that's because he got translated. He died and they translated him. That's why he got that imprint on that shroud, if that's his shroud. Which it could be. You know, we can't say. I don't know. I haven't studied enough on it to make a decision about it. But anyway, it just says that, you know, Michael's always, he's always here to protect you. And I want to pass on a message that Michael gave to Lorna. And she gave me a little business card that had Michael's prayer on it. And I can't find where I put it. It's either in my night, I don't even know, but I'm not going to spend all day looking for it. So anyway, I had to go to her channel and look up Michael's prayer, because she has a beautiful YouTube channel. You can look at everything about her sanctuary there too. It says Michael's prayer. He wants you to know that you can call on him anytime and that he loves it. God put him here to defend and protect us. They love us with God's love. He says we don't call on him enough. If you call on him, they come straight away. And unemployed angels, and they're always looking for something to do. And Lorna talks a lot about unemployed angels, you know. And she's saying that there's a lot of angels that are just kind of hanging out, just waiting for you to ask for some help. You know, but you always have good intentions asking for help. Don't ask for help because you want to hurt somebody, because you're not going to attract a nice kind of angel. You're going to attract a midway, not nice thing, right? You're going to attract something else. See, that's why your vibration goes down. Because when you do bad things, these creatures, they get close to you, I guess they affect your frequency. Because then you start doing things you shouldn't, and then your body gets more and more dense. You know, you just creating all kind of karma for yourself, because you start doing behaviors that affect everyone else, because your behavior affects everyone else. So these unemployed angels are always here to assist you. They're always here to assist you. Like, have you ever been looking for something, and then you say out loud, you say, "Oh, please, where did I put it?" And then all of a sudden in your head you'll hear, "Go look in the car," or "Go, did you look on the table, your night table, whatever," and literally you go there and they'll be there. I do that all the time. I always tell my husband, because he's always looking for something, I say, "Well, ask out loud. Ask out loud." And literally, because he'll go all over, he'll tear the whole house apart. He'll have himself in a frenzy looking for his keys. He's always looking for his keys. Oh my gosh. So anyway, the unemployed angels, they're always looking to help you out. So ask. Of course, there's no dumb questions. Michael says there's no such thing as a dumb question. You can ask them anything. You can call on them for anything. That there's no such thing as a dumb question. And I also want to talk about one of the angels that Lorna talks about often, and I really want to learn more about him because he seems quite mysterious. But she says his name is Hostess. And in this book there is a Hostess in here, but it doesn't really say much about him. He says his name is Hosediel, Hoesediel, and his name means mercy of God. Like Hosediel is an angel of the Bryatic world, and I know that Bryatic world, I think that is the original order. And then it just talks about looking at a chart, which I couldn't find in here, so I don't know if it was taken out or what. But it says he belonged to the order of Hashmilian or Dominations. Now I know that when the first people were inhabiting Earth, that was the first humans that were born on Earth was almost 1 million years ago, and they were a set of twins. And I have to laugh as we go along on this experience together, because I'm just going to go ahead and put this in because in this video, and then I'll have to do a separate one. But I wanted to mention that again, how I keep going on, that you have a lot of twin births in your family, and these are my twins when they were born. And they were born on a holiday, and they're both 18, but I had to laugh because twins run in the families because of Nephilim genetics. I think it is. I truly do. If you have genes in your family, if you have twins in your family, yeah, you probably have Nephilim genes, because it's very specific how twin babies, they say that the gender is determined by the father, and I don't know if they've made a decision now if it's because a woman has something funky going on with her vagal nerve system that causes her glands not to work right, therefore her period doesn't work right, and then she drops multiple eggs at once. I don't know. Or if it is that the father determines whether or not 2 eggs will be fertilized. Well, obviously the eggs got to be there, so maybe it's a double whammy. Literally. I don't know. But anyway, I want to just say the prayer, and I will read it and try to not put any spin on it, that everybody can understand clearly. And so I'd like to thank Michael for this beautiful prayer that he gave to Lorna. And it says, "Prayer of thy healing angels that is carried by God, by Archangel Michael. Pour out thy healing angels, thy heavenly host, upon everyone who is listening with this prayer. Let them feel the beam of thy healing angels upon them, the light of the healing hand. Let the healing begin. whatever way God grants us. That's so pretty. God bless us all. Amen. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. And we'll keep going and looking at these angels as we go through the Urantia book. It's been 50 minutes. It's been a really long video. But I'm going to do some old world buildings while I'm gone on this little thing to meet all these wonderful people. And hopefully I'll be able to do some videos. So, not sure if we're going to see any UFOs or whatever you want to call it, if we're going to make any kind of contact, or if it's just hanging out and getting to know other people that love the universe as much as I do and my friends do. So with that, have a wonderful weekend. And when you come and find me, I'll be here, because we're living in the past, present, and the future, all at the same time. So get outside this weekend and get some wonderful sunshine and be so thankful to Father and Mother. And with that, have a great day, and I'll check you out on the next one. Bye-bye.